Hey guys, welcome back to another video. This is Eric from Tech. The ROG Phone 3 is the most awaited gaming phone coming out this year. The ROG Phone 2 actually won the Gaming Smartphone of the Year award last year. So will the ROG Phone 3 be able to do it again this year? The ROG Phone 3 is against a couple of tough competition, namely the Red Magic 5G and the Black Shark 3 Pro. There's also the Lenovo Legion phone. Still trying to get my hands on that, but spec-wise, that can give the ROG Phone 3 a run for its money. So what are we waiting for, guys? Let's open up the box and see what's inside. Right, the phone I've got here is the Tencent Game Edition, so this is the Chinese version. The local launch for the ROG Phone 3 here in the Philippines will be happening August 15th. But I wanted to get my hands on the Tencent Games Edition similar to what I had last year. I initially got the ROG Phone 2 in the Tencent Edition, and let's see what's the difference. So the version I've got here, or the variant, is the 12256. So this has 12 gig of RAM and 256 gig of storage. So let's open it up. Okay, you've got for those who dare. Let's see what's in here. Okay, you've got the case and a couple of stickers, a user guide, and of course a normal warranty and stuff. So let's put that aside. There's the phone. It looks very similar to the ROG Phone 2, but let's see what else is inside the box. Okay, first thing I noticed, you've got a USB-C to a headphone jack adapter, so that's pretty disappointing. It means the ROG Phone 3 doesn't have a headphone jack this year, whereas the ROG Phone 2 had one last year, so you didn't need to have a jack. And you've got the USB-C to USB-C cable, and you've got the charging brick. Let me see what wattage this one is. Seems to be just the 18-watt charger, but of course the ROG Phone 3 is capable of charging at 30 watts. Okay, so that's all that came in the box. Let's see the phone. Okay, phone is, I don't want to tear it, you just slide it out. Cool. First thing I noticed with the phone is that it's a bit less edgy than last year. So I've got the ROG Phone 2 here. It's a bit more edgy in design, especially with this cooler. The cooler on the right looks to be smaller, but it's actually bigger inside. It just has like a glass window here where you can see inside. Asus is claiming that the cooling technology of this year is a lot better than the ROG Phone 2 from last year. So in terms of build and design, they're almost the same. You can use some of the cases and accessories that you've got for the ROG Phone 2 and use it on the ROG Phone 3. It was a design decision from Asus themselves. They didn't want you to rebuy all the accessories just for this phone. So if you've already invested in the accessories for the ROG 2, they don't want you buying everything again on the ROG 3. And to be honest, I don't think people will be buying separate accessories just to be able to use it on the ROG Phone 3. So here are a couple of accessories that you can get for the ROG Phone 3. Kind of disappointed that the Aero Active Cooler 2 that came with my ROG Phone Strix Edition from last year, you can't use it on the ROG Phone 3. That's the only accessory that Asus is saying that you can't use from the ROG 2 phone days. So I'll show you later on the video. I'm going to try to put that Aero Active Cooler 2 on this phone and see if it works. Though we already know that it shouldn't work, but let's give it a try. I don't know if anyone has tried it on any of the other videos. Okay, so as usual, let's talk about the build and design. So similar to last year, the ROG Phone 3 has Gorilla Glass 6 on the front and the back. So that means it's going to be protected from scratches and scrapes. But since it's 2020, kind of hoping that they upgrade the protection on the phone. The Galaxy Note 20 Ultra, on the other hand, is rumored to have the latest Gorilla Glass protection, which is Gorilla Glass Victus, is what they're calling it. It would have been really good if the ROG Phone 3 came with that level of protection as well. So as I mentioned before, I saw the USB-C to headphone jack adapter, so that means there's no headphone jack. On the ROG Phone 2, you had the headphone jack down at the bottom, but on this year, it's empty. And I guess you've noticed as well, you've got the USB-C charging port a bit off center, so at least when you're playing games, it's not gonna that much of a hindrance. Of course, you've still got the USB-C here in the center, so if you want to charge while playing, you can have the cable running down at the bottom so you can play unhindered. Okay, and at the top you've got the microphone. So design wise is very similar to last year, not much of a difference. You've got the microphone. One difference is you've got the SIM tray up top, where in last year it was at the bottom. And of course on the right side you've got the volume buttons and the power button. Okay, let's turn on the phone. In terms of display, it's the same size at 6.59 inch, and of course it's HDR10 Plus certified with the same pixels per inch or PPI of last year with 391. Also this year there's an improvement from the ROG Phone 2 where the max brightness is 650 nit. One of my primary complaints with the ROG Phone 2 is that the brightness doesn't get that high, but with the ROG 3 the display should be a lot brighter. So let's see, I'll try to max out. Not sure if you can see it on the screen, but the ROG Phone 3 is definitely a lot brighter than the ROG Phone 2. One of the main improvements in display of the ROG Phone 3 over the ROG Phone 2 is the inclusion of a higher refresh rate. The only other phone that has the same refresh rate as the ROG Phone 3 is the Red Magic 5G, which I have right here. If I go to the settings and go to the refresh rate, when you first boot up the phone, it's going to be on auto, so it automatically adjusts the refresh rate. But this is not a variable refresh rate like what's coming on the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra. So it's either going to be running in any of these four modes, either 60, 90, 120, and 144. Now if you want to force 144 Hz, you can just click it there and just keep it there. So to those who might want to know, I've opened up the DRM info here to see the wideband certification. So it is running L1. So that means once it's certified by Netflix, you should be able to play HD content on your phone. Pretty good knowing that even though this is the Tencent edition or the Chinese version, you've still got L1 certification. One of the key gaming specs that the ROG Phone 3 has is the touch sampling rate, which is 270 Hz, similar to what we've got on the Red Magic 5G and the Black Shark 3 Pro. So what does that mean? So that means when you're playing games, when you touch the shoot button or the fire button, it's going to register that touch a lot faster. So that means it's going to be more responsive and you're going to be a better gamer. And similar to last year's ROG 2 phone, it's using an in-display fingerprint scanner. This is still optical, if you can tell. Lights up the screen when you put your finger on it. The scanner is not too bad, not the fastest or the most accurate I've had. Let's talk about the specs next. We've all gotten used to the notion that whenever an ROG phone comes out, that it's automatically king of specs. And this year's model is no different. The ROG Phone 3 comes with the Snapdragon 865 Plus, which is of course the higher clocked version of the Snapdragon 865, which you can find on other gaming phones like the Red Magic 5G and the Black Shark 3 Pro. So of course that would mean your benchmarks would be a lot higher. Now if you're in the market for the ROG 3 Tencent Games Edition, you have to take note that there is an Elite Edition. I've gotten the Classic Edition over here. You can't really tell from the box and it doesn't say on the box whether it's Classic or Elite. But basically the main difference between the Classic and the Elite Edition, the Elite Edition only comes with the regular Snapdragon 865 and not the 865 Plus version that I have here. So if you want to get one, I'd suggest you get the Classic Edition. Of course, it's going to be a bit more expensive, so if you're in a budget, then you can go for the ROG 3 Elite Edition. But if you go down that route, then you've got other phones that you can get, namely the Red Magic 5G and the Black Shark 3 Pro, which I've been saying. So it makes it harder to recommend that phone because you've got other phones that has the same chipset. Like I mentioned earlier in the video, I've got the 12 gig of LPDDR5 RAM and 256 gig of UFS 3.1 storage. So that's also one of the main difference between the ROG Phone 3 and the other gaming phones that have come out this year. But does that automatically translate to a better user experience? In my opinion, no. You've got to take into account the software that you're using. And in this case, the ROG Phone is using the Rog UI. So when you first boot up the phone, you get an option of choosing the gaming-centric Rog UI or using the Zen UI as a theme. This year, the Asus ROG phone has a triple camera setup with a 64 megapixel wide camera, which is the Sony IMX686, a 13 megapixel ultra wide, and a 5 megapixel macro. Honestly, I wanted to have a telephoto lens instead of a macro lens, but that's just me. So I'd like to hear your thoughts on that in the comment section down below. Let me know which you prefer. a macro lens, or a telephoto lens. The battery on this year's phone is still the same 6000 milliamp hour battery, which means you have a large battery to get you through the day, so you can do a lot of gaming, a lot of watching movies, and whatever you use your phone for. Like I said earlier in the video, I'm going to be testing out the Aero Active Cooler 2. Asus has mentioned that it's not compatible with this year's model and should only be used on the ROG Phone 2. But let me give it a try. It might work, it might not, but you'll find out. Hang on, guys. Right, so I've got the cooler here. Let me just plug it in real quick, but let me remove this rubber cover on the center part. Off it goes. So this is the cooler. Plug it in. And we're immediately greeted with a message saying, "Attention." I'll try to focus on that. Please only use the ROG Phone 3's Aero Active Cooler. So tough luck, guys. This cooler can only be used on the ROG Phone 2 if you have it. If you're getting the Tencent Games Edition, the Aero Active Cooler 3 only comes with the 512GB version. If you're getting anything below, you have to buy it separately. It's a shame that Asus hasn't enabled backward support for this one. I don't really see a reason why it shouldn't work. It's positive that they retain support for a lot of the other accessories from the ROG Phone 2, but it seems only the Aero Active Cooler 2 is not compatible with this year's model, but all the other accessories should be. Just to be sure that the cooler is working correctly, let me try to plug it in the ROG 2. Yeah, working fine on the ROG Phone 2, guys, just not working on the ROG Phone 3. There's not much of a size difference between the ROG 3 and the Red Magic 5G, so let's continue with the size comparison. So if you have the Black Shark 3 Pro, of course it's going to dwarf the ROG 3 phone. Of course, this is a 7.1-inch display. They're both AMOLED, so of course you got deep blacks, but if you want a big gaming phone or a phone with a big screen, then the Black Shark 3 Pro is your choice. I guess it all comes down to personal preference, which one you prefer. So you've got the Joy UI over here, and you've got the Rogue UI over here. I've heard that there is a hidden 160Hz display or refresh rate on the ROG 3, but you need to run some ADB commands to get it running. So I'll give it a try and let you guys know how it goes. And of course, since it's a China ROM or a Chinese version, I'm going to keep my eye out on a way or a method to install the global ROM on this, similar to what I did for the ROG Phone 2 last year. I bought the Rogue 2 Tencent Edition and flashed the global ROM on it, so I'm trying to do the same for this ROG 3 phone. So stay tuned to the channel and make sure you turn on your notification, so when I upload that video, you'll be the first to know. I'll also be using the phone for a while and taking photos, so I'll be comparing the photos that I get on the ROG phone with the Red Magic 5G and the Black Shark 3 Pro and see which gaming phone this year wins the camera department. And as usual, no phone unboxing of mine will be complete without my speaker test. So I've got the ROG Phone 2 here, which I still feel has the best speaker on the market. Let's see if the ROG Phone 3 can beat it. Okay, so here it is. I maxed out the volume. I like the sound, it's very full. It also has a hint of bass. So let me put this down and get the ROG 2 phone and let's play them side by side so you can tell which one is better. I'll put them side by side and play it for you guys. I think the ROG 2 phone still is a bit louder, but this is a bit clearer. Let's do a comparison here. Too close to tell, guys, too close. So if you have the phone, give it a try, but I think I've got my new #1 speaker for a mobile phone, which is the ROG 3. Now of course, what am I going to do with that 144Hz display? There are only a couple of games to support it, and I've installed one of them here, which is Real Racing 3. Let's see if the phone can actually support or max out the frames on the display. Hey guys, it's easily hitting 144 frames per second, as you can tell from the game. Hey guys, you can see from the right 144 FPS. So yeah, the game fully supports the 144Hz display on this ROG Phone 3. I'm pretty sure the phone can handle any game you throw at it, but is it worth upgrading to the ROG Phone 3 if you already have the ROG Phone 2? It's gotten pretty hot around this area. I think it has to do with that copper pipe that they put it on the side, so it is getting warm from this part. So if you have the cooler, which actually plugs in there and then covers that part, then should be pretty good to go. But since I don't have it yet, I won't be able to test it out, guys. The ROG Phone 3 is one of the most powerful gaming smartphone out in the market right now. But is it worth upgrading to if you already have one of last year's gaming phone, or if you've gotten your hands on the Red Magic 5G or the Black Shark 3 Pro? If you've got the ROG Phone 2 from last year, then I don't really see a reason to upgrade unless you do upgrade every year. But there's not enough changes in the specs. Of course, you get the 865 Plus, whereas the Rog Phone 2 has the 855 Plus, but it's not going to make much of a difference from day-to-day use. It's only when you run a couple of benchmarks that you see there's a difference between the ROG 2 and the ROG 3. So if you're planning to get this, if you already have this, then my take on it will be no. But if you have the money to spare and if you want the latest and greatest, then this is a no-brainer. Get the ROG 3. I know you guys are asking, should I get the global version instead of the Tencent games? That depends on where in the world you are, because here in the Philippines, most of the network bands or the LTE bands that the Philippines have is supported by the Tencent Games Edition. So I don't mind having this version over the global version. I know the global version is going to be a lot more expensive, since the base variant of that will probably be the 512 gig, which will come in this kind of packaging. So it's not going to be a rectangular box, which we have on the Tencent games over here. You do of course have the option of flashing a global ROM on this, but you need to have a bit of technical know-how to do it. Then luckily for you, I'm going to be putting up that video on the channel pretty soon as I find a reliable working way. So stay tuned for that, guys. So that's it for my quick unboxing video and review on the ROG Phone 3. I'd like to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below. But as usual, a sub would be massively appreciated. So like and subscribe and hit that bell icon notification, and see you all in the next one.